Hello ladies and gentlemen, and continuing with my collection update series, I'm going to update my Wii U collection. A lot of people have been creaming their pants over the Wii U, talking about how great the Wii U is. I have my reserves about the Wii U, but let's just get into this. First and foremost is Assassin's Creed Unity. Now, get the light out of the way. This game is actually not the best Assassin's Creed game. It's hard to recommend this game to anybody because the best part about this game is the sailing, and the sailing is very limited in this game. The story is pretty boring. The protagonist is pretty boring. They really could have done something really good with this setting. You know, the American Revolution, 1775. This could have been a really great story, but they kind of screwed the pooch, and they also kind of started throwing historical accuracy out the window at this point, so that's a little unfortunate. Moving on, we have the follow-up to that, which I talked about in my Xbox One collection update. That is Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. This game is actually a pretty good game if you don't like Assassin's Creed. Even if you do like Assassin's Creed, it's still a pretty good game. It's more of a pirate game, with Assassin's Creed elements than anything else. Whoops. It's a little weird. It's a little bit wonky. Some of the elements are, but I like it. I don't think it's one of my favorite Assassin's Creed games just because it's more of a pirate game than an Assassin's game, but it could be worse. Continuing on, I would say don't play this game on the Wii U. And some people are going to get mad at me for saying that, but that is Batman Arkham City Armored Edition. Now, this game came out when the Wii U was relatively new, and it used the gamepad way too much, and the better version of this game is on the PC, but there's also the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 version of this game. I would highly recommend you play those versions instead of this version, because graphically this version isn't anything special. As a matter of fact, its frame rate is even worse, and it has some atrocious loading time, some atrocious pop-in. This is not a good version of Batman Arkham City. Avoid this version unless you're like me and you really like the Batman Arkham games. Speaking of the Batman Arkham games, I would recommend you buy this for the Wii U if you own a Wii U, and that is Batman Arkham Origins. Now, a lot of people really dislike this game. I'm fine with this game. I don't think it's a bad game. I think it's a good game. I think it's formulaic. It doesn't stray too much from the Batman Arkham formula. It's just Arkham City, but more of it. And, you know, the storyline is a little disappointing because they really had a chance to show off some other Batman villains, and they kind of blew it. And they really should have tried to use Roman Sionis as the main villain, and they really could have showed off so much about Slade Wilson and numerous other villains that are in this game, but they blew it, and I think that's part of the reason that people don't like this game, because there's so much potential and they didn't really get that potential nailed down. But I do like this game for what it is, which is a fairly formulaic Batman Arkham game. And here we have my favorite game on the system, Bayonetta 2. I actually bought a Wii U just for this game. I love the original Bayonetta so much that I bought this console just because Bayonetta 2 was coming to this console. That is it. That was my whole reasoning behind buying a Wii U. And this game also comes with the original Bayonetta in the box, actually. Right there on a disc. It's not a download code. It is the full game, Bayonetta. Of course, you also get Bayonetta 2. But what you get with the original Bayonetta is, of course, slight updates. And you also get Nintendo costumes, Princess Peach, Samus, Link, etc. It's really cool. It's a really nice way to play the first Bayonetta if you haven't played the first Bayonetta. And Bayonetta 2, fantastic game. Love Platinum Games. Love what they did here. And I still think that this series, Bayonetta and Bayonetta 2, are the gold standard for character action third-person fighting games like this. I think that this is the gold standard for the genre that it's in my opinion. I know people disagree with me on that, but I really think that Bayonetta and Bayonetta 2 are the best games in that genre of games. Next up, we have a game that I got with my system, and it is my second favorite game on the system. Yeah, my second favorite game on the system. Hyrule Warriors. Now, I bought my Wii U, and this game was about a week old, and let me tell you something. This is just Dynasty Warriors with a Zelda skin on it, but man, that Zelda skin really helps out a lot. It's just fantastic. It's got the Zelda art style. It's got the Zelda characters. It's got really, really over-the-top combat like you would expect. But also it has this 8-bit adventure mode that uses the 8-bit map from the original Legend of Zelda. And that's a really nice touch to extend the game time on this game. And on top of that, they've made some great DLC for this game. And this game is coming to the 3DS. So, you know, after it gets to the 3DS, there's really no reason for you to not play Hyrule Warriors. It's just a fantastic game. Now we are going to talk about another game I got with my system. It was a pack-in game, and I actually have never even put this game in my system, and that is Nintendo Land. It's essentially a tech demo for the Wii U for what the gamepad can do. And I've never had any reason to play it. I know there's a lot of really good games on here, but I've never found a reason to play it. And if I do ever play it one day, it's probably going to be with like my sister and my mom and my stepdad, or maybe if I go to my grandparents and I bring my Wii U, I'll probably play it with my grandparents or something. But it's nothing that special. It's just a tech demo. It didn't do what like Wii Sports did for the system. But it's a tech demo that shows off what the gamepad and what the console are capable of. And it's a fairly good tech demo at that. Now here is another pack-in game I got with my system, and I'm actually really glad I got this Wii U bundle. And that is Super Mario 3D World. This game is the shit. This game is actually my fourth favorite game on the console, probably. And it's honestly one of my favorite Mario games. Of course, Super Mario World is probably my favorite Mario game. I know a lot of people like Super Mario Bros. 3, but I think my second favorite is Super Mario Galaxy, then Super Mario Bros. 3, then this, and then Super Mario Sunshine. I just really like this game. I really like what Super Mario 3D Land did on the 3DS, and this is just essentially a home console conversion of that. Of course, the level design is a lot more expansive. In the way that these levels are designed, it's essentially like if you took the level design of Super Mario World and then made it 3D. So it's kind of on a linear path, but it's really well designed, really well made. The typical Nintendo touches and flourishes and everything are here. This is a very, very, very good game that I would highly recommend you get if you own a Wii U. And the way that you can always see this game on my game shelf is, of course, the case is red, not blue. So whenever it's sitting on my shelf, you just see the red on the case. So it sticks out a bit more, and that's fine by me. Next up, we have a game that I got very shortly after I got my Wii U, and that is Warriors Orochi 3 Hyper, and I believe this was a launch title for the system. Now, this is essentially a crossover game between Dynasty Warriors and Samurai Warriors. So if you like Dynasty Warriors and you like Samurai Warriors, here you go. Boom, you're good. Put this game in your system and just run wild with it. Really fun game if you like Dynasty Warriors like I do. And, you know, everybody knows what a Dynasty Warriors game is. It's essentially, hey, here's a huge battlefield. Go out and take out as many enemies as you can, and then take out all the leaders and all the lieutenants and sergeants. And, you know, Dynasty Warriors and Samurai Warriors don't need any explanation. And if you've never seen a Dynasty Warriors or Samurai Warriors game in action, search it on YouTube. You might actually be very impressed as to what they look like. Of course, the combat is very simplistic in those games. My games were a little bit out of order, so I had to swap them. Here is one of the worst ports of a game on the Wii U, and that is Watch Dogs. Now, this game really did have the opportunity to be something special for the Wii U, but Ubisoft just botched the port so bad. The gamepad screen just acts as a map. There's nothing special about it. The frame rate is atrocious. The lack of analog triggers is actually something that hurts the game as well, because on the Xbox One and PS4 version, you have the analog triggers. Whenever you're driving, you can kind of control your throttle on how fast you're going. In this game, it's foot to the floor or nothing, and that really does ruin a lot about the driving in this game, even though the driving isn't very good to begin with. But this game could have been something really special on the Wii U. It could have really taken advantage of the gamepad and really showed off what the Wii U was capable of. But at the end of the day, they essentially just took the Xbox 360 version, ported it to the Wii U, and then just threw the map on the gamepad screen. It could have been so much more, and I think that's why that makes this game so much more disappointing on the Wii U than it was on the Xbox One or PS4, in my opinion. And last, but certainly not least, my third favorite game on the system, and the reason that this is third and not first is because I have this game on the GameCube as well, and some of you already know what this is. The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker. And why do I put this under Z instead of L? Well, Zelda. You don't hear people always say The Legend of Zelda. They typically just say Zelda: The Wind Waker, or Zelda: Ocarina of Time, or Zelda: Majora's Mask, stuff like that. So I always file my Zelda games under Z instead of L. By the way, the word "the" doesn't go into consideration whenever I'm putting my games in alphabetical order. Because if that was the case, there'd be a lot of games labeled under T, and that's kind of annoying. But this game, really good. My third favorite Zelda game of all time. The first is Majora's Mask. The second is Twilight Princess. This is third. Really great Zelda game. In my opinion, this is probably the best way to play the game. You have HDMI signal. You have HD up-res text. Well, don't really need much texture work for this game, but the lighting and the shadows and everything is so well done. And they also added the I forget the name of the sail, but it's not the regular sail. It's a sail that, it just goes like you're driving a car instead of having to change the winds like you did in the GameCube version. The Miiverse has been added, so Tingle, you can find little bottles washed up on the shore or out in the ocean and pick them up and see what other people have posted on the Miiverse and stuff like that. This game is very well done, and if you've never played The Wind Waker, this is the best way to play it. And honestly, any of these Nintendo titles, let me actually get some of these out of here so I can show you, like, these Nintendo titles that I'm about to show you, like Bayonetta 2, Hyrule Warriors, Nintendo Land, and Super Mario 3D World. It's better for you to buy these now, even if you don't have the console, because eventually these first-party Nintendo games always shoot up in price. Even though Bayonetta 2 isn't a first-party title, it's an exclusive for the system, and all of these other Nintendo titles are going to be sought after by collectors eventually. As a matter of fact, some of these games are already impossible to find for under $50. So I would highly recommend you buy Wii U games sooner rather than later. And I know somebody's going to ask me, why don't you have stuff like Splatoon? Well, I did have Splatoon. It's just I played it twice and didn't really feel the urge to play it ever again, so I sold it. There are a few other games that I've done that with. I only keep games in my collection that I want to play. So there are some like really high-profile games that I don't own just because I don't want to play them. or I want to play them on a different system. So that's why I don't have them on the Wii U. Although I do have a lot of duplicates on here. I have Watch Dogs on the Xbox One. I have Arkham Origins and Arkham City on the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3, as well as the PC. So I have a lot of games, a lot of duplicates of games. I have Assassin's Creed 3 on the Xbox 360 and the PC as well. I have Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag on the Xbox One as well. So I have a lot of duplicate games, but that's because I wanted to see how they worked on the Wii U. And I feel that they're worth keeping on the Wii U just because I like those games so much. Watch Dogs I'm kind of keeping on the Wii U as a collector's piece more than anything else. But overall, I like the Wii U. I think it's underperforming for a reason because there aren't many third-party titles. And the people who are Nintendo fans already own a Wii U. So the Wii U's kind of not going to see... the Wii U is dead. With the NX about to come out, I think that it's safe to say that the Wii U is basically over. Nintendo's probably going to release, Zelda Wii U on the NX as well as the Wii U, and they're going to do that weird cross-platform thing that they did with Twilight Princess. I think there's a very good chance that we could see Star Fox on the Wii U and the NX as well, so we'll have to wait and see what Nintendo does. But I think the Wii U is a good gamer's console, but I think that helps it in terms of people like me who love games and love collecting games. But in terms of the mass market, it doesn't help because they don't know what the Wii U is. They see it as just an add-on for the Wii, and they don't have confidence, as well as they were never really fans of Nintendo to begin with. There's a lot of reasons the Wii U isn't succeeding, but if you are a gamer, odds are you're watching this video, and I would recommend you buy a Wii U, and here in a few months, you're probably going to be able to get a Wii U for ridiculously cheap. So wait a few months, buy a Wii U, buy some of these games, really check out the Wii U, give it a chance, and I think you'll be really surprised at how much better the Wii U is than the Wii.